So, good day, good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here together again at a new Restoration Talks. I'm happy that you're all tuned in, and I'm not alone today. Today, here with my brother Apoka. Today,
I
here with the sister Britt.
Hello,
How are
hello.
you guys doing? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
yes,
Ready for it. Interesting topic. So let's see.
Yes, yes. And I assume a lot of people already know what the topic is
Mm-hmm.
because we have had some response already online.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people that are not aware, our topic for today, spiritual wickedness, part one. So I hope you are all excited. We're just gonna have a conversation about what our elders, our brothers with wisdom, full of knowledge and power, they are going to endow on us tomorrow. Um, but we, as the small ants, as those that are anxious to receive from them, we're just gonna have a conversation about the little knowledge we have about
Mm-hmm.
spiritual wickedness. So we're just gonna have a conversation, guys. What are the things that you think about when you hear spiritual wickedness?
Um,
Aha! Did you hear that silence on this Friday evening? Eh?
yes.
spiritual wickedness.
You guys have to activate your spiritual senses. The Sabbath has already started. Please, I need more energy. I need it more.
Yes, 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 yes.
We're like slowly but surely. No, but when I hear the topic spiritual wickedness,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to think of the verse that speaks about spiritual wickedness in high places. So I automatically
Mm,
think about things that happen in um, churches, evil things, things that should not happen.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. Good one. APC?
And I think, spiritual wickedness. Yes, I think everything that is outside the border of Elohim
Mm,
and spiritually related, I, I would think about that.
that's an interesting one. I don't know why, but the first thing that came to my mind was like a witch, and then like and then like a voodoo doctor or whatnot. And and the funny thing also is I started to think about my mother, the prayers that she prayed when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
your mom.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about prayers that she prayed, and in a way, on one hand, it's like very positive because for me, it is awesome to have like the remembrance that your mom, she prayed for you when you were sleeping. She prayed for you when as a child you were not even knowledgeable about what happens in the spiritual realm, right? And in the same way also it brought a few questions, right? Like, okay, so should I be scared of that wicked man that is sitting somewhere and he's plotting against my spirit and against my soul and whatnot? And especially when a person like me, I was having nightmares a lot when I was younger. So you start to think like, is this because I did something wrong, or is there some family member in Ghana? I even know that when I was younger, I almost swore in my head that I won't go to Africa because the voodoo doctors, they are just sitting there in the forest. They are plotting against us in the Netherlands, so I won't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
it's crazy, man. Do you guys have something like that? Like,
Whew. Yeah, we had it.
Hmm.
It was always it was always funny. To me, it was when I was in the church when they was giving these prayer topics.
mm,
All the prayer topics, everybody is like calm. But when it came to demons, oh, it was the only moment that I was shouting, but I never knew. I just say the same thing that my mother used to say. And then you come Sunday evening home together, you watch that African
Oh yeah, the
sort
movie.
movies, and then you have certain scenes when the guy comes with he paint his face white. Man, all the prayers that we did in the church, it goes away. You are afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 man. Oh, it's
Oh
crazy,
wow,
man.
wow.
Crazy.
Yep,
Yeah, and
sounds
and I,
recognizable. Huh.
so I don't know if you guys have that as well. We in our family actually we have certain movies that we
Mm-hmm.
refer to when we think about like voodoo doctors or whatnot or being scared. I still have like some of the movies. One of the movies had like a voodoo doctor with something. It looked like a Pokemon ball or something. And even up till now, my sister sometimes she teases me with it because I was scared of it. It was yeah, man, crazy things, crazy times.
These
But
movies
I
have bad effects.
I
yeah,
don't
man.
even know where they get the inspiration from for those movies. It's like I really wonder who's like writing those scripts and stuff because it's
Uh,
really crazy how
yeah.
um and we people believe it, we love it, and then we imitate it, but
Mm,
it's something
uh,
very peculiar, to be very honest.
yeah. That's why I think those movies are like insight as well to what our parents etc. have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Because for us it's so weird, but I think like some of those things that you see, some of our parents actually experienced it. That they're taken to the forest to go and see a doctor, and after that happens, somebody dies in the family, and now people link what happened to the family member to what happened in the. So, but it's crazy. But spiritual wickedness, okay? Because we as a group we want to take it in a we want to look at it from a much broader sense,
Mm-hmm.
and actually look at, is there spiritual wickedness in things that we do not necessarily, let's say, mainstream doesn't see it as spiritual wickedness. And so I hope you guys have questions as well. I hope the people online comment, they subscribe, etc. But I was thinking about this. Idol worship is incorporated into into the mainstream, into basically our daily lives. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because what I see quite a lot is that um, mainstream media, or
Mm-hmm.
even like mainstream music, etc., it seems as if things that are not spiritually sound are embedded in everything. Like if you look at schooling, if you look at, uh, yeah, I would say so many things nowadays
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of idol incorporated in them. And I was wondering what you guys think of it. I don't want to pollute you guys with why I came up with that conclusion, but I want to know if you guys think the same way as well.
So do you mean it has an idol or it can become an idol?
No, it's
Which?
I think actual idol worshiping, like even like ceremonies or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
have been brought into everything that is mainstream. So you guys, with asking questions, I have to reveal my own thoughts, and I don't want to reveal my own thoughts. But if you guys say no, I don't see any idol worshiping in like my daily life, uh, that I need to actively resist, then that's fine as well.
Now, I think the idol sells good. Idol worship it sells good. It is good for the business. They
Mm,
put it almost in everything. Their idol worships kind of stuff makes you come back as a client. It will make you like use it more, whether it is gaming or you have some kind of football player that you really like to see. It will make you channel quickly to the channel where you will see your idol. Like if
yeah.
you have a movie star that you idolize somewhere, if there's a
Mm-hmm.
Washington movie, some people without knowing
Mm-hmm.
idolize. And then whenever Denzel Washington's movie is coming out, he must be there. So that's the entertainment kind of way to allure people, to bring people in, but also to keep people coming back.
Mm,
It's and many people don't know it, but if you look then, the amount of time they are spending concerning the thing that they idolize is,
Mhm.
yeah, each time it can take them like, half of their free time next to their work. So yeah, it's a
yeah,
kind of this way.
Yeah.
yeah,
But if I hear like what ABC said, I think it, yeah, has to do with something that first does not start as an idol, but the more you see it, the more you come into contact with it, then it becomes an idol. So that's why I asked that, Jimmy.
Mm,
But let me think. Maybe in the uh, it would sound strange, but maybe in the context of the faith, for example, you're so used to saying Jesus. For us, it's different now, of course, but even the word Jesus, it has so much power for people to use it. When something happens, you say Jesus, with the idea that with the idea that it has the effect, change things, bind things, break things. And I think that is a habit, actually, something that has been taught, but
yeah.
the weight that people put on it has also made it some type of idol, I would say.
Mm, okay, okay, okay. So my thinking, at least on this, is there are certain things. It, in a way, it's subtle, but in a way, it's not. And one example I can give is like our telephones, right?
Hmm.
Basically, everybody knows that now life without telephone is almost no life for a lot of people, right? And we
Hmm.
know it and we still continue it, right? So for me, it's like we kind of already know that technology or our phone, for instance, has become an idol in a lot of us our lives. So that's why for me, for instance, Day of Atonement or when you're fasting or whatnot, it's at that point that I check myself, right, to
Hmm.
find out, okay, am I getting seizures because I haven't been on my phone for so many hours or whatnot, or even some days at work I just decide I'm not going to touch my phone until I'm done with working.
Hmm.
And then you will find out that, okay, was I able or wasn't I? Or when you have to fast and you notice that your body just tells you you need to eat. Whilst our ancestors, a lot of times they went a day without food or whatnot, but
Easy.
now our stomach has become our god, like my old pastor he told us. So yeah,
But
it's crazy. It's crazy. But also, I want to show everybody online something, because sometimes it's subtle, right? Like Sister Brittany told us, and then I think what I just mentioned is a little bit more evident. I think everybody can recognize it immediately. But
mhm.
then I have another example. In my opinion, it is quite clear. Um, and this was it's a bit shocking. So if you're a bit sensitive and you will have nightmares in the night, don't
Oh,
look at this. Um, but this, I don't want to promote any worldly artist, so I'm not gonna write which artist wrote this. But
hmm.
this song, before, it would never ever reach mainstream media. This song is now a mainstream song. And even amongst the black people, especially, it would not be accepted at all. But this is actually a black artist, and he's a mainstream artist, and his songs are being sang in big concerts. And he's like making millions. He's like earning a lot. I don't even want to mention the text that is on the screen because I don't want to invoke anything upon my own life. But I just want to have the people that are listening, if you're able to just read it, and I wouldn't promote people to read it out loud, but people are now writing songs where they're describing their experiences with demons. And this is just one part of the song, right? But if you go to another part of the song, this person is singing about wanting the touch, wanting the feel, wanting to gain the trust,
Mm.
and all these kind of crazy things. So I was like thinking about this. I was like, how is this mainstream? I don't understand.
Because people are don't use their brains anymore nowadays. To be, for
Yeah,
example, if this would be sang at like great concerts. They do it because they're just so in trance with like the artist and
yeah,
whoa and the whole experience, and then they start chanting things, they start saying things without even realizing what they're doing. For them it's just, oh, it's maybe my favorite artist that is singing this song, or oh yeah, I like the beat, so let me just dance to it,
yeah,
whilst focusing, okay, where does it come from and what am I actually singing.
yeah,
When I look at this, especially music and the entertainment world, even gospel music has been polluted by such type of things and such type of artists. But
yeah,
yeah, you can clearly see that it's not as if people are hiding it anymore. Or those that make such songs, they're not hiding what they're worshiping, who gives that inspiration to them. It's just out in the open. And that's why I say, like, when you are maybe making something an idol, it takes away your common sense. It takes away
yeah,
your ability to think
definitely.
rationally, because everyone that should read this should know that this is not a song you should sing, and there's something very evil behind it, but still people
Yeah,
dance.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and and,
Uh,
and yes, tell us, brother.
can I say something? I think what makes people nowadays to listen to this kind of music is because of freedom which the internet and this entertainment and all the social media gives the people nowadays. They have broader access to a lot of kinds of songs, and we live in the age of where many people think they have the freedom. We live now in an age where people can openly burn the Quran. What used to be back in the days, like, no way. I remember back in the days, you had these rappers, they will make some subliminal texts and hide some messages with it.
Yeah,
You have to break the code to understand. But now I see rappers on YouTube that they have 666 on their head tattooed, and they do
yeah,
all kinds of stuff that I'm thinking like, now this generation that is coming up. They have these kind of mindset that they can do whatever they want, and Satan worshiping Satan. It has become a sort of a culture. It's not like back in our days that we were afraid. You once hear Illuminati, you don't want to touch. But nowadays it's like, yeah, Illuminati is in the supermarket. Yeah, it's it's normal now.
It's being so openly. Yeah.
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 And I think like people think it's only in like music or whatnot, but it's in a lot of things. Like if you think about sports, whatnot, people are forced into like, sexual acts. If you want to be an actor, if you want to be a sport, if you want to be famous, whatnot,
Hmm.
people like we have the story of comedians that were told that if you want to make it, you need to wear a dress like a woman, and then you'll become famous. I have a guy that I actually know. He
Hmm.
was into the fighting sports,
Hmm.
and his teacher told him basically he was doing like competitions, like it was taekwondo, and he mentioned that his teacher told him if he wants to gain a new level,
Hmm.
he needs to open like a certain chakra, a certain spiritual gate.
Hmm.
And in the beginning, he was like, I'm Christian or I'm believing, so I don't know if I want to do it. But eventually, he kind of allowed himself to go through that process. So the person basically explained to him what he needed to do. And the moment I don't even know if he went through the whole process, but the moment he opened himself up to it, he's starting to have crazy dreams, see
Yeah.
crazy things and whatnot. And it actually took his parents and him time, like prayer and fasting, etc., to actually understand what he allowed in himself, because of obviously, like the Asian, etc., they also have a spiritual side to the things that they were doing.
Yeah.
So, so I think that we have a lot of things in our daily life that we need to be careful with. Like,
Mhm.
okay, the movies that we watch, the things that we do in sports, or even in your fitness. You might go to fitness and they tell you to do a certain thing in yoga or whatnot, and
Yeah.
then you're not necessarily conscious about it, but yeah, it's in everything, even in people like promoting, oh guys, you should, if you want to experience God, you should do pills, or you should do mushrooms or whatnot. Everything has spiritual consequences.
Yeah.
I
And
wonder, I always ask myself, like, we come from a generation where we have seen it also differently, right?
Mhm.
But for example, children that are born like from 2012, let me say, when the 2013 until now, that they have experienced the lifetime of the age of freedom. And I always think, how would they see it in a couple years? Because we have experienced how it was before and how it became worse. But how do you think about the generation that will come after us? Would they ever experience something like how we used to see things? Because
yeah,
back in the day, there were some kind of censor, but nowadays it's like
Yeah.
madness. The generation
yeah,
reaches the point.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think that they will. Um, by the time that the next generation or the future generation, then that's why I always say we really have to be mindful also for those that come after us, because that censorship and everything will be gone by that time. Crazy things will be legalized, and the things that we see now, and maybe because we have been raised up with the faith, so we know that it's wrong. Um, they will see it maybe as normal because they don't know anything different or better unless
yeah,
we have taught those after us, we have taught them those things. But without that, this is going to be their normal.
yeah,
You see everything happening in the society, man is going to be normal, or oh, that is also an option, unless you have taught them something different. And it's the same with the music. That's why I'm also a bit careful. I use music because, as an example, because a lot of people, of course, listen to music. Um, but you even see a difference between gospel music from way back and gospel music now.
yeah,
Everything is trendy, everything is popular, everything is about me, receiving this, receiving that, asking Elohim for things instead of really focusing on Him in those songs. And that's why I find it just important that we just pass those things along. Otherwise, unfortunately, the crazy things we see today is just a new normal for the next.
yeah. Wow, that's actually interesting that you guys say it, because I think that is one thing about wickedness as well. Like, you can be you get used to this, you can get used to something that is actually crazy wicked. I I Not to make this too political, right? Because I don't want to go too political, but I was actually listening to looking at some videos about the whole Israel Palestina thingy, and then you kind of notice that on both spectrums, but I what I saw was about Israel, and you had these youths, basic youths from Israel, that were being interviewed by somebody from Palestina, and the guy was asking like, hey, so 10 Palestine children died. What do you think about it? And they were like, yeah, it's good. Like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, they have to die. All Palestine has to. And I was like, hmm? So I was like, maybe it's this person is just not 100, right? So we went to the next person, and the next person was kind of like the same thing, and the next person, and you basically had a whole group of youths that were not connected, but they were all online.
Mhm.
And I think because of what they experience, or because what they have grown up to think about the other side, their mindset was so different that for us, what would we would assume or would see as wickedness, they were like, no, this is normal. This is actually justified. And so I think wickedness is also something that you can only sense when you have the right surroundings.
Yeah.
Uh, and that is for me at least something that I've decided. Like, I want my kids to have the right surroundings, the right friends, because sometimes you hear people like, my mom, she abused me. She used to beat me once a month, and she beat me once a month with a belt. And I'm like, once a month? I was, it was like so many times. If there was a week I didn't get a beating, I was like, this is weird. Like, no beatings this week.
It's
So,
coming.
but but why? Because everybody, all my friends, when something you get a beating, you don't think, oh, my mom, she doesn't. Obviously, you didn't think like, oh, this is super love, but you were like, it's okay. Other people experience it as well.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think it's important as well, like for children, for instance, make sure you have the right surroundings so that you don't think that what is happening to you is so strange. But also, if you're alone as a guy, for instance, it's harder to experience. You're married and you're going through marriage things. It helps that other brother also goes through things, so you know that, okay, this is fine. But it's also good that a brother tells you, like, what you're doing is wrong, right? Like, what you're doing is wrong. It's because of you have people to compare yourself to, in a way, to keep you in check.
Yeah.
And so I think for spiritual wickedness, that is something that would definitely help well as well.
Hmm.
um, but just to bring it to another side, um, I would want to know, so, okay, because I think from our point of view, we kind of know what is wicked and what should be done and what shouldn't be done, in a
Hmm.
way. However, sometimes I do also think that there are a few, I would say, gray areas where we as believers should be uh, careful as well, how we use our words, etc. Like, you have a prophet in the Bible. He got angry about children that were talking about his absence of hair, and then he just basically called the animals to come and kill the children, and the animal actually came and killed the children. And so I don't know if that would be classified as wickedness. In a way, I think it's a lesson for us to know. Like, be careful about how you speak about Elohim's anointed one. Even that is written in the scriptures as well, right? So even about the ministers that will speak tomorrow, some people online might feel like, I don't like those guys. They scream too much or they talk too harsh. uh, be careful, people online. That's just what I want to say.
Goodness.
Um, but I think we need to be careful. So binding people in prayers is the same as cursing them, right? I just wanted to know your view on this, because this is something I have been fighting with for quite a while. Like, okay, spirits, and I can command them to be removed, get behind me, Satan. Yeah, I'm following the path of the Messiah.
Hmm.
But are we allowed to bind the spirit that is in my auntie? Am I allowed to bind this lying spirit that is in my uncle? Whilst he might even be saying the truth, but no, I'm binding this uncle. I'm binding his mouth because he's talking rubbish. Um,
No,
Are we
no.
allowed? Are we allowed to bind people or spirits that are within people if we find that those spirits are wrong within the people that are surrounding us? So let me hear you guys your comments on this one.
APC wants to talk.
Yeah, that binding stuff, I don't know where it comes from. We, especially the black people, the Africans, the black people, said they like to bind. They always bind their own people.
Mhm.
Why don't you bind your own boss who treats you bad? And binding, I don't know with what do you want to bind? With rope, with chain? This binding, it doesn't make any sense. It's a way that someone, I don't know where it comes from, actually somebody started and it went like
Mhm.
domino,
Hmm.
went to the other generation or the church, and it doesn't make sense. Most of them, scriptures say, remove first the stick that is in your own eyes before you remove the small one that is in somebody else's eyes. And
Yeah.
many people that goes with these thoughts, I will bind the spirit in my auntie, but they cannot bind those politics that are messing their own lives. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Always towards a certain group or people directly or
Okay.
family. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. But for instance, right? Sometimes you have like uh yeah, like for instance, you know that your family gossips a lot, right?
Mhm.
So you're like,
Stop
I'm binding the spirit of gossip that is roaming about in our family, right?
really.
In a way, like and this is I have no clear opinion or
Mhm.
uh, thing on this, but I'm like, when you're saying that, are you actually telling your family that they are not allowed to to gossip? Because I think like scripture tells us that blessing and a curse, like even to sin or to be obedient, it's a free choice to people, right?
Mhm.
So now I am binding you
Mhm.
in my mind. I am taking away your ability to choose between good or bad, right? Because now I'm binding you that you are not able to lie, you're not able to steal. But on the other hand, right, I know as well that people were allowed their free will in scripture. For
Mhm.
instance, they come before Peter,
Mhm.
they lie, and then they die. So, in a way, sometimes I'm like, maybe it's better to keep shut somebody's mouth up so that they can't lie, and at least they stay alive. Do you get me? Do you get me?
But that is picking and choosing. That is just picking
Yeah.
and choosing, making prayers to your own benefits. And many of our people, they don't know even the concept of prayer, how prayers work,
Mhm.
Mm,
how prayers, which prayers smells like a perfume before Elohim and the holy angels. They don't know the difference between blessing and cursing. It is because of the lack of reading. If
Yeah.
you read the Bible carefully, you can never curse your brother.
Yeah.
Why?
mm,
Why? For just take an example of Joseph. One, your uncle in Kinshasa is gossiping about you. You are breaking, you are cursing him. Compare their situation
Mhm.
with that of Joseph, that they sell you away. But yet
mm,
Joseph did not curse them.
yeah,
So when you die and you stand before Elohim and they bring your cases that you were binding and they
Yeah.
compare them out, you will see that you buy for yourself on first tick or first class ticket to hell. Many of our people, because of our prayers, we are bringing curses upon ourselves because even the angels they are afraid to bring your prayers to Elohim. There is no sense of mercy or forgiveness. Why would you curse somebody, bind somebody when you do sin? When these people do the same kind of stuff, if you ask them, would you like that someone would do the same prayer like what you did? They will say no. But when it's their turn, they will pick and choose. And
Yeah.
this fertility, we got it from the from the
Yeah.
from that place. I don't want to mention it. From that place.
The same way like we are or people are binding others is the same way those people are also binding them in prayers. Because the same is because of the same behavior. I think Apoka said it in the beginning, and that was something I was thinking about as well. Where
Hmm.
does that whole idea come from? Like binding people, what exactly are you going to bind? Are you going to bind spirits? How are you going to bind the spirit? It doesn't makes sense. And I agree with what he said that I think it's just a lot of reading scriptures in the wrong context and then applying it also the wrong way. Most people want to bind because of revenge. Actually, maybe they're angry or they're dealing maybe with something like unforgiveness, and then they want to take revenge on that person. But the scripture also tells us many times that we should not be taking revenge, even if there are things that have happened to us.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Not be the
Okay.
ones that should take revenge because we're going to do it in a wrong way. There's no righteousness about what we want to do. So that binding and everything, um, basically you're also sinning. You're trying to kill someone with the words that you're pronouncing. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember I was watching a podcast, and there was this girl. She was part of this was part of the church, and there was a man who was also part of them, and then he left. And then they had one evening that they were praying against this man because he left. And then in a few weeks' time, this man was dead because during that service, they were literally praying that he should die, die. The whole church was praying that he should die. He was dead in like a few weeks' time. And for her, that was something like, yeah, okay, well, this is not something that I should be part of, but it shows what we're actually now discussing and the effects that it can have. Are those people in the church now saints? No, they basically killed someone with their words. So that's something that we really should think about.
Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. So, I think I'm leaning towards that as well. But I am kind of like certain things. It's very hard to just say, you know what, I'm gonna allow this person to do what they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? Knowing that as a child of Elohim, your words have strength, right? So in a way, sometimes you're going through something and you're like, this is too much and it needs to end now. And you basically feel like running back to the father and telling him, okay, just make them stop, make them stop lying or stop doing those things, or even um, take their means away to continue their wickedness. Sometimes somebody is so wicked, and you actually want to make them see that their path is not the way to go. But I do agree with what you mentioned, that um, where does this mindset come from? I think even if we look at how the Messiah and how Elohim has dealt with us, we have done so many crazy things, and yet he has not taken our free will away to choose between good or bad. So I am very grateful for this conversation. However, tomorrow I want the anointed man, to come with the final say so, because if they give me the free say so, I'll start binding some people online. But
Wow,
uh,
Jim, you
but
have this entire show.
but no, no, no. But if they denounce it, I will stop it immediately. And everybody online, you should stop it immediately then as well. You should all repent. I think we all have something to work on. I hope that everybody that was online and heard our conversation took something away as well. Um, I need people to comment more. Okay, in our next conversation, we need more comments. We need more likes. We need everybody to subscribe. But this was an awesome way to start the Sabbath. So people online, I don't know if you have questions about these subjects as well, but tomorrow, 12, you're able to follow us online, and we're just going to dive into this subject, Spiritual Wickedness Part 1, and feel free to comment then as well. These men have great insights, and I'm happy. So, Brother Apuka, Brittany, you have something else to say as an ending thing? Lessons learned or lessons to share?
I just be mindful of the things that you take in. Be mindful of the things that you do in your daily life. Always
Mm,
ask the question, why am I doing this? So that you're aware of what you're consuming, and also the binding and stuff. Just leave that. If you're someone that loves to bind, I think that's maybe a deeper issue or underlying issue, and I think it's more wise to tackle that issue than necessarily the binding part.
wow, wow, wow. Wow. Brother, do you want to steer away from the binding? Because some of us, we are still wanting to know what the brothers are going to say about the binding. But
Yes.
spiritual wickedness in general, and this idolatry that might be in our daily lives. Do you have some takeaways? A final word from our brother APC.
Yes, just be careful. Watch out what you bring into your body, what you hear, what you see, what you touch, what you smell.
Mm.
And yeah, just try to read more. And concerning binding, have peace with yourself, learn to forgive. We all make some mistakes.
Mm.
Some they are not there yet. So yeah, be careful and just step by step.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no. A word to the wise. So I definitely learned a few things, and got some few new, I would say, arguments to speak to my spirit that it is not my decision to
Mhm.
bind people left and right. And wickedness is all around us, but let's all focus on Elohim, focus on our own progress,
Mhm. Yeah.
and may our spirit of discernment keep us from doing all kinds of wicked stuff. So
Yeah.
thank you, brother Apoka. Thank you, sister Brid. People online, we will be seeing you in our next show, and tomorrow as well. And yeah, this was Restoration Talks, part of our restoration. So see you next week. See you tomorrow. And I trust you were blessed. Bless.